Are you tired of working for your money and you want to learn how to get your money to work for you? We've got a great guest, Raj Singh, coming up next. Hi, Raj.
Hello, Bruce.
So great having you on.
Likewise, I'm honored to be here on your program. Thanks so much for the opportunity to share my message with the world.
Excellent. So we haven't gone that far back. We're not buds from the 1900s or last century. We recently met, and you're on a speaking tour, and you've got a great message. And your message really resonated with me was stop working for your money and have your money start working for you.
Yes, correct. All passive income, opportunity-based things where you can have basically leverage money, and just from what I learned from my mentors and books that I've read and seminars and all that good stuff. Yes.
And so you haven't always been a rock star of the passive income or the passive income artiste. You were used to be an artiste of different measure. What is kind of your origin story?
Origin story as far as what led me to what I'm doing now professionally with passive income and being a speaker and so forth. Is that what you mean, Bruce?
Yeah, pretty much. You started off in performance. You used to be a singer.
Well, actually, it goes way before that. I'll tell you. The reason I got into passive income and just being an entrepreneur was growing up as a kid with divorced parents and raised in a single parent household. Money seemed to always be an issue. So, if one parent made more money, let's say at their job or business, then the other parent would want more in child support. And I think it was always a struggle back and forth because of that. And my parents told me to always get a good education so that I could get a scholarship to go to college. And I did. Study hard and got a partial scholarship for school. But my parents, even though they were hardworking Caribbean background people, hard workers, they still couldn't afford the other part of the scholarship, the tuition that was due. And because of that, I went to the local public school instead. And that's where I first learned at a young age the power that money can have and not have. And that's why as I got older, I started studying how money works, how wealth is created, and took a whole bunch of courses and studied mentors and coaches and everything in regards to passive income, because I always wanted to have some kind of income where I could be home with my family, because I always saw my dad, he was always working, always out of the house, never really home, because he was just a hardworking guy, a hustler. And I just knew that I wanted to be at home with my family more. And that's what got me into passive income based businesses. So when I left corporate America over a decade ago from my computer consultant background, I have a bachelor's in computer science. So I'm really a techie, geeky kind of guy. And I left that over a decade ago. And because of my...
I think we just lost you. So when he logs back in, we'll grab back. So until he logs back in, we will talk about, he's got a book called Authorities. And what I found interesting was that in addition to having his, here you go back. In addition to having your your background in education, you went into singing, and a lot of times I found that a lot of singers go into singing with no business background at all, and they end up being taken, and because they don't know where the money's going. The fact that you had that business background and that financial background, I think that even made you more aware of what your capabilities were.
Absolutely. I'd agree with that, because I'm able to use both of those different skills, I would say. What I was saying before I got cut off is that when I walked away from corporate America over a decade ago, because of my investments working for me, then I started developing other things that I've always wanted to do for fun. So I started taking vocal lessons, started singing classes, and I eventually got recruited with an international touring band. And we've been all over the world. We go to all different continents and countries and have a lot of fun singing and performing on stage. And for me, it's really wild because I'm a technical guy. And for me to use another hemisphere of my brain to be creative and entertain on stage is wild to me, because I'm a technical kind of geek. So now that I can do both of these things. And when I'm on stage now, whether I'm speaking to an audience or I'm singing to an audience, I'm still impacting them, entertaining them, uplifting them, and leaving them with positive words of inspiration and so forth. So yes, the singing on stage has helped me, even with speaking, using those same skills, because it's all energy, the same energy with controlling a crowd and encouraging them to go to a higher level where I'd like to take them.
So as far as being relying on passive income, have you found album sales to be a form of passive income, or is it something else entirely different?
You saying what kind of sales? Online sales or
your album?
Oh, the album sales. It is another form of passive income as well, because there's different CDs and songs I have online. I remember when I first got a check for that, because of the iTunes all over worldwide, I was just like, whoa, you can actually make money from this too. And, it all helps. So whether it's CD, or tracks, a lot of digital copyrights are there as well on my music, or whether it's a book that I have, and I teach my clients how to do the same thing, how you can get residuals from, a lot of intellectual property, whether it's CDs, podcasts, or actual books and things like that. Yes.
So those who don't have the talent of singing, I kind of pretty much got away from singing after junior high, but those who are speaking, you can actually leverage that as well. So if you're on a speaking tour, I found that if you can record your presentation, and you can actually remarket that and sell that as a separate item, either from the stage or virtually.
Yes, I teach my clients as well. It's not only the direct income, it's actually beyond the direct income you get from things like books and CDs. It's more of the income you get indirectly, because instead of a business card where everyone else is, handing out someone else a business card, instead you can give your CD, you can give your book, and that's your new calling card, your business card. And it has so much more authority, so much more presence with it, brand awareness. Then you can charge more for your services, because you're seeing, the perception is you're just so much more of an authority figure. And we teach people how to do that, because they say people trust more book authors nowadays than they trust even doctors. That's the world we live in.
Yeah. So again, I held up the book during that little short break that we had, and you're right there on the cover of the book as an authority. And in the chapter that you call, it is called "Control Your Money Before it Controls You." So, at what age? I know a lot of the kids today, they're all in it for a quick buck. I'll buy Bitcoin today and I'll sell Bitcoin tomorrow. Or I'll buy a stock today, and if it goes up 2 points, I'll sell it tomorrow because I made that $5 on the sale, because it's becoming so much easier to buy and sell stocks. That is not the way you propose. How do you propose developing your nest egg?
Well, I mean, it could be. I don't want to knock it either. It's just not for me necessarily, and it may not be for most people. If you have extra money to, just basically gamble with, then by all means, and I believe in also diversifying risks. So it depends on your portfolio as well. I'm not an actual financial advisor, but I just basically teach people and consult with them on what I've done in different income vehicles and so forth. So I think it's more of I think the most important thing is timing. Depends, because like after the crash of 2008 with real estate, that's where I had all my eggs in one basket. And then I left corporate America because of it. And then shortly thereafter, boom, everything just came, tumbling down. And at that moment, when foreclosures were happening, you can make a lot of money in foreclosures, short sales. So depending on the timings, the strategy had to switch. So I think it's all about timing, but then also how much funds someone has to invest healthily without putting all their food on the table, and also what their risk factor is. So there's a couple things into play, but I believe timing is the most critical. So for example, right now, I really like the e-commerce space, because with COVID, so much more people are shopping online than ever before. And I've been seeing these automated Amazon stores and automated Walmart stores for investors, business owners. They're just been making a killing as far as profitability, and it's so hands off because you can have virtual assistant teams doing all the work for you. So that's what I believe, because of timing, is some of the hottest things right now, as well as leveraging other stuff. I mean, you can rent out your vehicles now with Turo. You can rent out space in your homes with Airbnb. There's so many ways to leverage everything you have.
So with an e-commerce store, there are two ways you can actually sell your own products, or else you can sell someone else's products. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes. And there's ways to do all of the above. It just means, how much time do you have? It goes back to time and money. The more money you have, the more you can invest in certain systems and processes where it's automated for you. Or if you have more time than money, then you can do some of the work on your own, and until you get more money to automate things. So it could be either way. So if you want to do products, there's drop shipping as well, or there's all these different software and tools where you can go into discount stores like Walmart, let's say, and scan an item, a barcode, and within a few minutes have it already with the full description of the product and everything uploaded to your Amazon store or Shopify store, and you can start selling that if you want to actually be hands-on and deliver the product and things like that. Or there's a way to just do it all online without you touching the product. It just depends how much work you want to do or not.
So for those who don't understand what drop shipping is, can you define that a little bit more?
It's a pretty cool concept. In drop shipping, you typically don't pay for a product in advance. So you're not stocking up your garage with products or warehousing, paying a warehouse to rent out space to put your products in. It's typically where you only buy a product to sell after you have already sold it. So only when someone goes to your site or store and buys a product where you have a listing online for it, then you go and actually find a supplier to fulfill that item, whether it's a store that you go to or it's an online store, and you just send it straight to that client. So that's what drop shipping is. It's a lot less risk because you're not holding any product and hoping it sells. It sells first, and then you go fulfill the order.
Excellent. And then there's other ways. I think a year ago, who is it? Maybe it was like Brian Fanzo, who was a social influencer, was talking, and maybe even Gary Vaynerchuk, were talking about going through your attic and your basement and finding items that you no longer use and just posting those up on Amazon or an eBay store. That's another form of passive income, because you're just basically selling your stocks. And it's a lot easier than holding a garage sale.
Yeah, absolutely. And people do that, all day, every day. There's so many people doing so many different strategies and being creative with it, whether it's just going on Craigslist in your local area, finding out what, someone's trash can be another person's gold mine, and then reselling it and doing retail arbitrage where you're just paying one price for items and then you're selling it back for a profit at another price. And then you can resell it online, or you can put it from one marketplace to another. There's people that just do it from, let's say, Craigslist marketplace to Facebook marketplace, or to a Let Go app, or any of those. It's just copy and paste. That's it.
So you mentioned the word arbitrage, which brings up the idea of the stock market. I think that is the most common place for passive income. Do you have any ideas on how people can actually build their nest egg using the stock market, and what can they should avoid and what they should beware of? I know you're not
stocks. Yeah.
and once again, you're not a financial advisor, and this is not a financial advice.
Correct. Thank you for that, Bruce. I believe that there are a lot of people that have lost money in stocks, just like anything else, real estate, any type of business or investment. There's people that have made money in it as well. The programs I like to do with stocks, as far as stock trading platforms, are more of companies that have automated software that does the work for you, instead of you doing it yourself. And what I like even better than stocks is the Forex market, foreign exchange currency trading. I would recommend for people to get involved in as well, whether they want to trade as well. I've just never seen profitability like traders make when it comes to a lot of different type of investment opportunities. But if they actually learn the market, and obviously you have to have the right money personality, you have to have the right discipline to do that type of thing. Because it is like, not everyone can go to a casino and gamble. You have to be very methodical in your approach and strategy. And that's why the first chapter of every stock book or Forex trading book is always about one thing, and that's the psychology behind it, because the psychology is so important. So unless you're that disciplined where you're not going to start, breaking the rules that you make for trading, then I would outsource it to a team that specializes in that and does that.
That's great. And Amanda, great information. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, so as far as finding a team, there are stock brokers out there. There are big firms, there are small firms, there are independents. A lot of these companies offer you just the portion of just do it yourself. What should you learn about, and I guess, what advice do you have before you get involved? Before you get involved in either the stock market, the Forex market, or even Bitcoin, or the cyber currency market?
I would say, generally speaking, never invest more than you're willing to lose. So never put all your eggs in one basket even. Just diversify across all platforms, because what's working today may not work tomorrow. And I would say start off that way. And as you start getting more profits in one, then you start diversifying more in others, and so forth. Because there's so many different opportunities out there and different potential scams out there and schemes. You want to fully make sure you can vet any of those to the best of your ability. Look at the people that are doing it, what's their track record, see some examples of their proven track record, whether they have one or not, or is it something new that they just started doing, and you're going to be one of their first test subjects. I've learned to not do things like that, because I'd rather a more reliable system.
Great. I think probably the platform's having issues today, because first it kicked you out, then it kicked me out. But excellent for holding your own. So as far as more information, you have a couple different platforms that we can share. There is this one, which is your 360 page, and I found this really fascinating. With the King Raj 360 page, is anyone can actually set this up. It's kind of a platform where you put everything you are involved with in one location. So if they're looking for you on social media or your website, this is a great platform to invest in or look into. But as far as what you offer here, in addition to just your social media connections, you also offer kind of a, what is it? A kind of a let me look here.
Yeah, this is basically a social media hub where you can add all my links.
Yeah, and so what you have is kind of what is your money personality? And
yeah.
I started mine. I did not finish it. I got sidetracked. It wasn't a long personality test, but it was kind of an interesting personality test.
Oh, great. Yeah, so this is what I'm offering for your listeners and viewers. I wanted to give them something special, and this is a money personality assessment that we have from the Financial Freedom Mastery Academy website, which I'm the founder of. And it's normally $249 to do the test. Just for a few $100, you get me teaching you videos on what your money personality is and how, because of that, that's why there's certain businesses you should get involved with and ones you should not. Certain coaches you should hire and certain ones you should not, because of your money personality. And a lot of people think mindset, which is very important, is the foundation of any type of just learning and business and so forth. It all starts with our mindset. But what many of the gurus fail to realize is that even before mindset, there's something even more valuable, and that's your personality. And our spin on that is your money personality. And that's because most people have their personality developed by age 7. And after that develops, it's very hard to go against that and change that personality. So that's why I find it so much of a requirement, so mandatory, where people should identify first what their money personality is, and then see, because of that, why we do certain things and what things we should do and not do. And also what the money personality is. You'll go through the assessment, you'll see other people, what their money personality is in your life. And then you'll realize that's why they're a certain way. Because most fights, they say, are because of what? In any relationship, whether it's your spouse, kids, parents, or in business partners, it's about money. Most of the conflicts, right? So, and it's because, why are you saving so much? Well, why are you not living life more and just spending some money and enjoy it? So there's all these different conflicting arguments, and now we know why, because of your money personality. So with that website that I'm offering your viewers today, Bruce, is they can get that personality assessment for free if they go to there.
Excellent. And again, so as far as giving that test, would you recommend it to a 10-year-old, or would you recommend it to just as an adult? Because I know they very, very rarely do they teach children money before they're 7 years old.
Correct, but it's the same kind of dynamics in place, even though if what you're saying is, okay, well, they don't know about money until they're older, so it should be for adults. But I believe all ages, because of the personality base. We just took that spin and made basically a spin on it with regards to money personality, but it's the same actual personality trait assessments. For example, if you're a spontaneous money personality, you're still a spontaneous personality. So you have the same traits, which means that you are very just easygoing with money, but you're going to be easygoing with a lot of different things in life. And you're going to be very spontaneous and improv. Whereas if you have a more methodical personality, those are the greatest personalities for, let's say, traders or accountants and bookkeepers. Or CPAs, because they like numbers. So even as a kid, you'll see that they just really gravitate to numbers and having a certain process for things, where they like things in order. And you can tell that from their toys. Is it in order? Are they packing up by themselves? Do they like their things neat? Then you have a pretty good idea they're a methodical money personality, or a methodical personality anyway. Or are they a kid that always likes to be around other people, that pulls people in, that's hugging people, really feels that connection with people? So then they would be a humanistic money personality, or a humanistic personality, but now with the spin on money, that means they like to just give things away to other people, and they sometimes never actually think about themselves. They never keep back money from themselves. So that's why humanistic personalities, it's very hard to find very successful people that are financially successful with a humanistic personality, because they're always giving things away. So you can see these traits identified in kids as well, very, very easily.
And what's really interesting is that not all children in the same family have the same personality. A lot of kids have different personality, because I know I've got totally different personality than both my brothers.
Yeah.
And because basically I started my own business as an entrepreneur. Both my brothers are very successful, but they're working for other people.
Same thing with my siblings as well. I'm very entrepreneurial and driven, go-getter, and they are, but in their fields, they like the security. They prefer the security of a job, and they're very successful in what they do. But we're just different personalities when it comes to that.
And so we really didn't get into the definition of passive incomes, or even very, very many different options of passive income. In your book, you talk a little bit about real estate, and we discussed that a little bit about the crash of 2008. How did you recover from that? And are you still in real estate investment? And what are the risks there?
So with real estate, I started out in residential and did properties like that. I was able to, when I left corporate America, I was featured in a infomercial on TV, which was pretty cool to have my friends and family see me on TV in the middle of the night as one of these success stories that another real estate company had me on for earning over $100,000 my first year of real estate through some of their coaching and things like that. So I started out with residential, and then the crash happened and lost a lot and had to pick up and learn from it, So after I did that, then what I did after that with real estate is more passive income based. At first it wasn't. It was more me doing the work, me managing properties and things like that. And then what I found is once I got into the commercial real estate property game, the properties are so big that you can't possibly do the work yourself. You cannot. So you can't paint a property if it has 100 units yourself. You could, but you'll get burnt out, especially if you're doing other things. And I didn't want that. I wanted my time back. Remember, I wanted to be at home with my future family and so forth. So what I specialize now with my clients and I are properties between 100 to 200 units in the Midwest. Midwest because it's a lot cheaper per door. So it just makes sense there. In emerging markets, so that means in markets where a lot more people are moving in than moving out of those cities, there might be new airports being built there, new warehouses, or Amazon, let's say, is there, Walmart building something. So, with that infrastructure, more people will be moving in there. That's the kind of properties that we target with that. But it's all about a team. I basically have a team that syndicates. They bring people together, investors together, to get these properties. So it's not me by myself or any investor. It's a group that get together and do these type of properties. And I find that to be more ideal for me, because then it could be passive based and you're not in the day-to-day, but you have a team managing all of that.
And I think that's a really big thing about even growing your own business is basically handing the work off to someone else. So you're working basically on your business, not in your business.
Yep, correct.
So delegating those tasks, either that take up too much of your time or that you're not an expertise in.
Correct. Because if we're doing those tasks that someone else can do for minimum wage, as my mentors taught me, then we're basically paying ourselves for that. So if I don't have an assistant, then I am an assistant. And therefore I'm doing tasks that, are that type of lower level tasks, not saying they're low level, but they're lower than where I should be if I'm able to do bigger and better deals and type of transactions and tasks with my time. Then I can have bigger and better conversations with people. I can have a higher level conversation, so do higher deals with my time, versus doing some of the more easier routine day-to-day things that I can outsource for just a lot less of my time and for just very little money when you really think about it and weigh it out.
Because I think you've got a picture on one of your websites. It's of I keep on forgetting his name. He's from Omaha.
Would that be Warren Buffett or?
That's it. So I'm thinking of Warren Buffett, who's probably has his hands in thousands of different deals, and it's all passive income. How do you become, I guess, or how do you oversee that much? Is there a limit, or you basically based on the individual as to how much is too much?
Well, what I've seen people do, and even Warren Buffett, when I was at the Berkshire Hathaway annual shareholders meeting just about a year or two ago, I remember even Warren Buffett said from the front of the room that he missed that whole .com bubble era when eBay and Amazon was on the rise, back in the day. Even he missed out on that because he didn't trust it. It just wasn't in his wheelhouse. He wasn't familiar with it. And even though he didn't participate in those booming opportunities and that made so many people millionaires and more, but even without that added to his portfolio, he's still one of the richest, men in the world. So it also goes back to what I think is the money personality. It's staying in your lane and knowing what you're good at. And even though you may miss opportunities, but you're still staying with what works based on your personality as well. So the way his model works, as well as like Sir Richard Branson, where they have all these different companies that they own, they have different managers in place that oversee everything. So you have managers that do all the day-to-day work for you, and they manage the other people, the other team. And what I've seen that works great with that model is also give your managers a piece of the pie. If they have some kind of profit sharing incentive, so for example, even if it's a nightclub or a restaurant and they're managing that business for you, that establishment, then give them a 2% maybe of the profit sharing. And what I've seen in those examples are even stealing and theft, loss due to theft and so forth, goes down because they take so much more pride in the place, because now they feel like they're maybe part owner, they have more invested in it. And then after a few years, maybe have a different bonus incentive. So if they stay on board, maybe after 2 to 5 years, something like that, then they get a bump up to 5% of the profit sharing split that they bring in, something like that. So then they're also staying long-term as well, and they treat it like their own business. So that's what I believe Warren Buffett, Sir Richard Branson, by reading their books, they also implement strategies like that.
That's a great concept. So again, for more information on how to find you, the best place is most likely your King Raj 360. You also have kingrajsingh.com.
Yes, that's just more of a website with the first one's my social media hub, and then this King Raj Singh, that's more of just different uh, material I offer, products, educational things on there. You'll just see a lot more info about me and what I do. Have my speaker sheets on there as well if you're looking for any of that. So you'll see a lot more information on that one.
So where are you? Are you appearing cross country on a more speaking tour? Or
There's a lot of virtual now. I was just a few weeks ago in Chicago speaking out there for a power team event, and before that in Vegas as well, speaking. A lot more places are opening up now. Even with COVID, I love to travel, so I look for any reason to travel, whether it's for business, or whether it's for singing, or if it's for family, friends, clients, you name it. I'm always traveling somewhere. I love to travel. And last year, even with COVID, I visited 19 different countries, so that was pretty cool. But more things are starting to open up, and people are starting to get more just trusting to go outside more and travel more. So as things start to open up more, then we'll start doing some live events again.
So looking forward to your more live events, because that's where we met, was in a live event where
Yes.
you were speaking from the stage.
Yes, correct. That's great.
So great. Any other information you want to leave us with that I haven't asked you?
Let's see. Just keep in touch with me, everyone that's listening on if you're listening on social media or you're watching our faces on the live stream, just to go ahead and connect with me, kingraj360.com. And you'll also see a gifts button, and that's where you can click on to get your link to the free money personality assessment that I mentioned. And I just want to thank you, Bruce, again, for doing these type of live streams and sharing just very valuable information with your audiences from what I see, and you're doing a great service to them, and I'm sure they appreciate it as well. So I wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, great. Well, thank you. It's been great meeting you, and I'll definitely stay in touch, and I will finish up that personality test to see what my my risks, aversion tactics are for as far as money goes.
Excellent. I look forward to it. Let me know how it goes, Bruce.
Great. Thank you much. And
Thank you.
have a great week.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.